nobody else wanted to do it. Really, it's the least favorite role of every Mozart singer I have ever met. And the minute that we don't have to do it anymore, very often we don't, because it is excruciatingly difficult. Those two arias are composed in such a way, I don't know what it is, they're just, I don't know if it's because they're so exposed or if it's because they just sit right in the passaggio, which is an uncomfortable part of the voice. The rest of the opera is a joy, but the arias are really difficult.
Are they?
Yeah, and it's funny, you wouldn't think that. You would think that Fiordaligi's arias or Donana's arias are much worse, but they're not. They're easier, I think. But it's the greatest opera. I never, ever would get tired of a De Ponte libretto or a Hofmannsthal libretto or a Shakespeare libretto. It makes all the difference in the world in terms of repetition, for me, is how interesting is the character, the story. Don't you find when you see the Marriage of Figaro, don't you find it amazing that this was composed so long ago? It could be written today, the story.
But you know, it's interesting to me that when you said, you know, you turn to these, you didn't mention the composers, you mentioned the librettists, or the people on whom, Shakespeare, for instance, that the story is based on.
Well, there's a lot of beautiful music with weaker libretti or stories that after the fifth time I've done the part, I think, oh, okay, this again. So to me, personally, for me personally, it has a lot to do with the character. That's what makes it a joy for me to continue to redo. I would never tire of the Martian, never. It's not possible. And it's because of who she is.
But that's interesting. That's your way of keeping the role fresh, approaching it really from a dramatic and emotional point of view. I wanted to talk, we've talked about the Pézado Festival and the fact that that really launched your international career, but Schulte had a tremendous influence on you too, didn't he, Renee?
Schulte was very important. I consider my turning points to be the Pézado Festival, my Schulte experiences, and Otello at the Met in '95. Those are the three crucial things, in my opinion. But Schulte was instrumental, first of all, in allowing me to have a relationship with the recording company, which, frankly, everything builds on itself. So I don't know, had I not had that opportunity with him, that might not have happened. And it's not easy for American singers to have that opportunity now. For any singer, for that matter, or any musician, the recording industry they are struggling like every business right now. So Schulte was the one who started that for me. He also, because I reopened the Paris Opera in Don Giovanni, gave me my second home, which is in Paris. I was adopted by the French as a result of that one night. So that was an extraordinary experience, and just having his vote of confidence meant the world to me. And you know, he said, "Renee, you're my baby." Call me anytime. Yeah, I could call him. He was a mentor. He was a real mentor. He advised me on having children. I should have had more. You can have as many as you want. And he was just extremely generous. I didn't know him in his days, the days when he was so feared. I knew him, obviously, in the last 3 years of his life when he was a loving young artist and wanted to help.
When you mentioned this about having the children, actually, you had a baby shortly before that Otello, that great opening night.